Okay, here we have a Samsung portable window air conditioner unit. I picked this little window unit up while at our community dump site. Getting back to the unit, it's just a little cheap, aka cheap Chinese air conditioner. Samsung is a Korean brand, but this one is made in China. It looks like somebody has used a bunch of duct tape to go around where the wings was supposed to go, and what's left of this one here is broken in some spots. Can't complain about the price. I thought I'd bring it home, so let's try to plug it in and see what happens. Okay, we got it plugged in. Let's see what happens. Just going to turn it on fan in the beginning, see what it does. Okay, we definitely got a weak fan, that's for sure. Whew, smells like cat urine. Okay, well, our fan is running, but it's very slow. Don't really have any excessive current draw. I mean, it's not dimming my lights or anything down, so I know it shouldn't be a short. Let's see what happens when we put it on the air conditioner part. Don't even hear a click out of the thermostat. Okay, well, I think I have a suspicion as to what it is, but the only way to find out is to pull the cover and see what the trouble is. Okay, with the cover pulled, I've already noticed that in checking our culprit, which would be our main capacitor in here, power capacitor, it looks like we have a leaky capacitor. Already got some gunk on there, and looks like it's been possibly leaking up here. Looks like a 35 and then a 3.5 microfarad at 270 volts AC. So that is the culprit. I'm going to disconnect my wires and take a reading from it. This is the only way to know whether you've got a bad cap or not, is to take a reading. But before we do that, you should always have your wiring diagram for your unit. Typically comes when you take a window unit like this apart. It typically would have a wiring diagram located somewhere within the chassis. This one was laying right on top of here. This was inside of here, and the cover was over the top of it, so it should be a wiring diagram somewhere within the unit. This way, if you disconnect a wire, you can trace it back to where it goes. Like from the capacitor here, it goes down and back over to your fan motor, and it also goes back to your compressor. The two main items within your window unit that would use the most power: your fan motor and especially your compressor. This capacitor allows both of these items to run off of a small amount of current. It stores enough power in this capacitor to help reduce the power drain on your circuit, and allows all this stuff to run smoothly. So if this is bad, when you turn your air conditioner on, it will run really low, and sometimes the compressor will kick in and it will not engage or cool. Your fan motor will run slow. I don't think this motor is bad. It does spin nice and freely, so that tells me the bearings aren't the problem. I'm not going to 100% rule out the fan motor, but I don't believe that's the problem. I believe that the capacitor is the problem. Probably the capacitor went bad, and the people, it just wouldn't run right for them, and they probably threw it out. So let's take these wires loose and get a reading and go from there. Okay, and checking our capacitance readings with one side of the probe connected to the chassis ground, which will be the same as the body of the capacitor. We on our 35 microfarad side, we are getting about 3 microfarad. On our 3 microfarad side, we are getting around about 1 microfarad. So yeah, we're way off here. So I think we definitely got a bad capacitor. Okay, well, let's see what I can find, digging my junk box around here and see what I can find. Okay, with our new capacitor installed, here's our old leaky capacitor here. We got gook all over it. And with our other capacitor installed, I did have a spare capacitor and a junk box full of electronic parts of all things. I do remember having this capacitor and getting it with all those other electronic parts. This is a General Electric capacitor, the good old made in the USA capacitor, and then this old one here, I think it's some I don't know, Quick Can or something like that. Quick Quang, China. So anyway, got a good American GE capacitor in here, and the microfarads were a little bit different. I think this is a 45 as opposed to a 35. Yeah, so 45 as opposed to 35, and this is a 5 instead of a 3.5 on the fan side. And it's 370 volts as opposed to 270 volts. Yeah. And so yeah, a little bit of difference. I don't think the capacitance is off enough to really cause any problems. It's probably for a little bit bigger unit, but this is a smaller unit. This is what I've got available, so I figured we'd run with that. We'll make sure all these electrical contacts are covered. And with our new capacitor installed, let's take our wiring diagram off and fire it up and see what happens. Oh yeah, we got a lot more fan now. Blowing like it should. Got our fan motors running, and definitely got a lot more wind coming out of this thing like we should. Let's go over to cool and see what we got on cool. Our compressor's kicking right on. So let's let this thing run a little while and see what happens. See if we're getting cold. Yeah, the air feels like it's getting a little cooler now. We'll let this thing run a little while and see what happens. Okay, well, it's cooling and seems to be working pretty good, so I think I'm gonna put the cover back on it and put it back together, maybe clean it up a little bit, try to get that odor out of it. But I might be able to use this one to cool the shop. So anyway, that's about it for the Chinese Samsung air conditioner. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.